dude, I had to sit on this for 2 weeks before I was able to wrap my brain and actually make a video around this, because I'm still probably missing some bits and pieces, but I had to sit on it because it's just like, welcome back. I know I've been MIA for about 2 weeks or so. I wanted to take some time off because I made a whole bunch of content and just need a moment to breathe. I watched Pantheon and made a video on it a couple weeks ago, I would say, at this point in time. And I wanted to touch on season 2, episode 8. So any spoilers are going to be addressed right now. If you haven't watched it, highly recommend going and watching the full series. I believe season 2 comes on Netflix here in the next couple of weeks or so. So you can check that out instead of watching it on YouTube, kind of like I ended up doing. But I just want to get that out of the way because there's going to be some concepts that I talk about today that are a little bit more, I'd say, abstract and can kind of get lost in the role of our everyday life. So just a little bit about Pantheon before we end up getting started, just so that you at least have a little bit of a background. Is there is one girl and she's right here, and basically her dad is over here, and her dad ends up having like this life-threatening disease or something like that. So then his intelligence, his consciousness gets uploaded to the cloud, which is basically just the internet. It's where you're watching this video right now. He just gets uploaded to that said place. And his daughter, it brings up this whole debate on whether or not like her dad is still human, is still a person that is worthy of respect, admiration, love, compassion, whatever it may be. Like, is this person still real, even though they don't have a physical form, at least not in our world, in our reality, but has a physical form in the cloud reality? So, and this is something that you can kind of think about as well in terms of like when you go and have a dream or something like that, you're still here and like your body's in this reality, like right here, we'll say, but then like your dream is happening over here, and the dream feels as real as this reality does. So you kind of have to like have this two different perspectives on which one is real. So if you know from the end of season 2, episode 8, you find out that Caspian was actually alive. They are having this whole debate because they want to build this place here. Maddie was the one person that had yet to upload herself to the cloud at this point in time, which makes complete sense. She didn't want to have to be the one that was only left by when Caspian was over here. Like, he ended up sacrificing his life to be able to save the AI so that he could continue and the rest of the AIs could eventually progress, because the other guy, he wasn't able to fulfill his vision. But like, that's the funny thing about history, and you can ask yourself this question on whether or not we do have free will or we don't have free will, because there's just so much that goes on in the world that we live in right now. Sometimes things may be part of reality, sometimes things may not be part of reality. You're the one that gets to decide that. So like, as you see in the end of the episode, it's where Caspian, he ends up dying because the AI ends up overtaking his years and everything like that. But then the AI comes back, or Caspian comes back and says, this amount of time. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean this amount of time? Like, I don't understand what you're talking about. So it says just like, she's freaking out because Caspian had just died. It was the love of her life. Maddie's in pain. And then it's just like,
my son's dead.
He says, 1,700. 176. There we go. 117,649 years. Maddie doesn't necessarily understand that when Caspian, the AI, ends up saying that. And she ends up going on this whole like expedition through space, talks about these things, plants her like little essence of the world, her reality, and all these different Earths. More time passes, she ends up building her own like little star, like her own little galaxy, her own universe within the star. And this is what tripped me out the most, and maybe it tripped out a lot of you as well too, is because we have this, I'd say, notion. And I ended up posting this on Reddit as well too, because I wanted somebody else to talk to about this, because I didn't have any ideas or places or people to ask these questions to. So it's just like, where like the series just, it trips me out. It confuses me to no end. So it's just like, I try to explain what happens within Pantheon, because Maddie creates this whole universe. This is her universe. This right here is her star. And for all we know, everybody else, you yourself have this exact same star in your own reality as well too. Because at the end of season 1, we see her dad end up growing up big and tall and like telling her like her daughter that it's okay to leave, but then Maddie ends up coming in. And what she do? She's able to rematerialize her dad, and that's where he's like, wait, hold on, wait, how did I get here? I don't understand, like, what's going on. She still seems young, doesn't necessarily understand what's going on, but they're just observing this said experience right here. And this is the part that some people will agree with it, some people won't agree with this, but until somebody is there to observe that said thing, like this right here is Maddie's reality now. And this is the part that trips me out, is because each and every single one of these little dots, one of these little bubbles, one of these little things is the world. And the trippy part about this as well too is there is somebody else. There's another version of Maddie outside of this version observing Maddie, observing this said scenario, observing this scenario, observing this scenario to infinitum. And you'd be like, well, how can that be? Because we can even look at the episode like from Rick and Morty where they have the observers and everything along those lines. Like there has to be somebody there to observe it. Otherwise it does not and cannot exist. And you can be like, well, everything is always existing. And yes, that is true until you bring it into your conscious awareness. Like there's probably people that have never seen my videos. There's probably people that have never even seen this show to begin with at first either, because you weren't consciously aware of that said bubble, that said universe, that said reality that you're in. And this concept, this show explains so in depth of how much there is out there, and that we are truly the creators of our own reality, and we get to decide what type of life that we want to live. And Maddie, she's trying to save Caspian so that they can start over, so they can go do this whole different perspective, because she just wants to save her boyfriend. Like that's all she wants to do. She just wants to save him. So she goes through this whole world of building her own universe. But the crazy part about this is Caspian even real then at this point? Or did she just end up creating him out of his own reality because she wanted somebody to be there for him? Like if this is in her own little universe, then who is actually real? Or is she the only one that is truly real? And this is the thing that gets me so much. And I just it doesn't make sense to me, but it does at the same time, because we have these ideas, we have these concepts, and it doesn't make sense until it does. Because then Maddie goes back, she observes the said event that she needed to observe. They try to stop this guy from doing the things that he was doing. But like she's freaking out. She ends up then stepping into her old form, takes a deep breath. She's all good. She ends up re-uploading her son to the cloud without actually having to go into the thing, because she realized that she herself is God. She is the creator. She is the all-powerful being who created all of this. And that's why she's able to then just magically pull them into the cloud, because she was able to then observe it, and everybody else is kind of tripping out. It's like, how did this happen? Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, what is going on right here? And that's where she like tells her whole story. She finds her mom. They go through this whole like ability of like telling her what's going on. She's like, yeah, here, hold on 1 second. And she's like, well, sorry, Caspian ended up dying. And Maddie's like, he can't get away with it that easy. She brings him back, and he's just like, wait, hold on, how am I still here? This doesn't make any sense. Like, what's going on? Everybody else is also freaking out. And it's just like, what is happening? Because then she's like, all right, hey, I need to show you something. So we're going to go have a talk and discussion, and I'm going to pull us out of this reality. But then he's like, wait, hold on. What do you mean? Like, why are we here right now? She tells him about the nanobots or the AI, and then they end up coming back and bringing them into their universe, because they're the ultimate observers to the said universe, but this is not inside of her own simulation, which this is the part that confuses me even more, because like if this whole scene right here isn't in her simulation, then she's in somebody else's simulation within her simulation within the simulation to infinitum. And that's the part that just I do my best. I had to sit on this for 2 weeks before I was able to wrap my brain and actually make a video around this, because I'm still probably missing some bits and pieces, but I had to sit on it because it's just like, these are apparently the all observing individuals, and yet there's probably somebody on the other side of them that observes it even more. And that's why like this scene after they talk with Safe Space, Share Space. I'm sorry for the name, you guys. I apologize for that. But if she ends up talking to him, they end up telling her like why she needed to wait. They ended up going off to space, finding their own thing, all thanks to Caspian telling them like, hey, it's your life. You could decide the thing that you yourself want to. And if we look at it this way as well too, if you remember from the series, there was a couple of different other AIs that all got eaten up, and that's all of these AIs right here. Just a small little aside. But like they end up going out in space, finding the true meaning. They want to thank Caspian, and then when they go back to the cloud, I'm doing air quotes, the cloud, the air dimensions, because I do air quotes because this is the reality. Like this is their true reality now, even if they don't think that. Like they had human forms beforehand, but even when they're here, they do have human forms, and that's why like they're trying to figure out like what happened to them, like were they actually here? It's like, well, they're part of my logs, but I don't even remember anything. And then he ends up coming back. It's like, wait, Why are you here? Like, you died, but like, you're here. I need to remember what's going on. And then he just instantly forgets. And I believe that that's one of our journeys of why we come here into this world to experience the simulation that we experience right now, is so that we can remember why and where we came from, because time is non-linear. Everything is happening everywhere all at once. There is no past, there is no future, there is only now. And you can be like, well, I'm looking into the future, I'm looking back into the past. But when you do that said thing, you are in the present moment, in this said time. So you're never really ever truly going anywhere. You're always in the eternal now. And then they have this whole conversation. They talk about like wanting to go back, start it over, run it through again. And Caspian talks to Maddie. It's like, are you going to go find like the people at the end of the universe? And she's like, no, I'll leave that to another Maddie. I want to go back and like do this again with you. And they're like, okay, like where do we start? Where do we begin? And then they end up going back in that said world that she said she observed. And then they end up going back and she's like, huh, wait, what? This is kind of trippy. This is kind of crazy. But this is the part, like, life is cyclical, dude. Like, there's so many different universes. There's so many different ways to observe. All you have to do, and this is the key point that I want to drive home. And if you made it to the end of the video, which I know very few people make it to the end of the videos because a lot of people don't want to hear these concepts or have their ideas broken or their beliefs changed. But if you are one of the few individuals that did make it to the end of the video, then this is for you. I guarantee it. All you have to do is focus on different realities that you want to be a part of. And then from doing that said thing, you start to live in the new world. You start to live in this world or this world or this world. And the great part about it is you can change the universe, the world, the observable effects that you observe each and every single day. I've been able to do it with the YouTube channels. I've been able to do it with sales. I've been able to do it with my content. I've been able to do it with people. I've been able to do it with the gym. Let your mind listen to what it needs to listen to. Let your eyes see what it needs to see. And also focusing your attention on the thing that you want to observe, and watch your life unfold in the most miraculous, amazing ways from there. If you found this video interesting, subscribe to the channel as well too. I'm trying not to release videos each and every single day any longer, just more when I have something to say, just because I feel like that's a little bit more better, I would say. Plus, we'll see, things may change. Whenever I get inspiration, I make videos. But I'd also love to know your thoughts. Like, do you believe that this is all simulation and all we have to do is just observe like the different realities and we can go live in that reality? Is there always going to be another observer to infinitum, to where we have like to the point to where there's always going to be somebody observing us, and as long as there's nobody observing us, then nothing ever exists? And are we the creators of our own unique stars? Because what if hypothetically, like, think about it this way too, what if Caspian has his own little star as well too, and then he's observing Maddie within his said world? Like, who's the true observer? Is it Maddie or is it Caspian? Is it you or is it me? Or is it both of us? Like, I believe it's more like you and like it's you for you, but it's me for me. Something to think about. So, yeah. Hope you have a good day. Chat with you whenever I make the next video.